So yeah, I decided to play 100 different Roblox games. This isn't clickbait, I actually did it. I compiled a list of a massive variety of games, ranging from the most popular, to some of the most iconic, to some of the worst on the platform. All for a simple purpose, to discover which games are actually fun. You could say parts of this video have kind of unintentionally been in the works for about 8 years now. I first got into Roblox during 2016, and there are some games on this list that I've played since the beginning, and some I now wish I hadn't played. Let's begin with... This is one of the most iconic games on Roblox. Despite receiving minimal updates, it is still ridiculously popular. I think there's a few reasons MM2 has such staying power. For one, it has a simple gameplay loop. Essentially, it's just murder from Gary's mod. In every match, roles are randomly assigned. The killer gets a knife, the sheriff a gun, and everyone else is out of luck. It can be very fun with friends. I remember a little while back we got a whole TDS YouTuber lobby going, and that was wacky. But on its own, it's not that engaging. It does get repetitive pretty quickly. I think the main aspect of MM2's continued relevance is its cosmetic trading market. There are hundreds of different knife and gun skins, and there's a huge community of people who trade them. I mean, I even dabbled in it in the past myself. I've gotten scammed multiple times. But I think the game puts too much focus on the cosmetics. It feels like that's all there is in every update. MM2 also has a lot of blatantly unfinished features, like this whole Season 1 thing, which has been coming soon for like at least 4 years now. I have a lot of distaste for the way this game handles crates and battle passes. The requirements are far too high for free-to-play players. It feels very money hungry, which is going to be a theme for a lot of games going forward. Overall, MM2 isn't great, but it's not bad. I'll put it in B tier, cause I'm gonna be ranking all these games to assemble an ultimate list by the end. I'm going to judge them based on what I feel like their quality is, and also how much I enjoy playing them. So of course feel free to leave a comment on why I'm wrong. All you do in Souls RNG is walk around a retro-themed map and gamble for auras. No Hunter x Hunter reference, although new chapters soon, which is very based. There's some superficial upgrade systems I add on top to try to flesh out the gameplay a bit more, but there's really nothing to them. I can kind of see the appeal of Souls RNG as like a just turn your brain off and chill type game. Some of the auras are admittedly pretty cool looking, but I just don't find gambling to be a very interesting game mechanic, I guess. I'm going to put this in F tier.
But this 35-room boutique hotel is far from living up to guest expectations.
I had never properly played this game prior to making this video because whenever I joined it took like 5 minutes for the game to load in, and by that point I lost interest. But for this video I finally ran some actual attempts, and yeah, Doors is great. Visually, it's immaculate. The UI and modeling is some of the highest quality on the platform, and the gameplay loop is fun. You try to escape a hotel by progressing through rooms with various puzzles. It's nicely paced so that you have both longer, more interactable layouts, and simple ones you can breeze through. It's also reasonably spooky. Like, these little morons kept jump scaring me. So yeah, I like Doors a lot. S tier. There's also the Floor 2 update coming soon. That'll be cool. Actually, that's definitely been released by the time this video comes out. I'm recording this on August 19th. In this game, you hit a ball. That's it. There's a whole cosmetic system because of course there is, but the gameplay is just a simple ripoff of another Roblox game, Deflect, which itself was a ripoff of some minigame from Overwatch, which itself was, according to this YouTube comment, a ripoff of TF2. This game really represents the power of copying on Roblox, just like on YouTube, and how this whole video is heavily inspired by Foco's 100 Games video. Go check that out, it is genuinely peak. Anyways, Blade Ball C tier. It's very bland, but it is kind of satisfying to play. This is the first Obby game, basically the Roblox coded phrase for a parkour game. You're placed in a tower where every 8 minutes, new randomly arranged obstacle segments are loaded, and your goal is simple. Get to the top. The randomness keeps things fresh, since you never know what tower layout you'll get next. There's a wide variety of stages, and they're generally enjoyable. There are some stupid ones though. The ones where you have to wait for a platform always suck, as just a lot of downtime. There's this stupid ass wind mechanic, which literally just doesn't work right half the time. There's also some really cheap pay-to-win garbage you can buy to make the obstacles super easy or completely impossible for everyone in the server, which is funny. I'll put Tower Hell all the way up in S tier actually.
Well, I was actually coming out here to pick up a cupcake
This was like the big poppin' social hangout game back in 2017. Not for good reasons though. Meepcity gained notoriety for its party system. Basically, people could set up little lobbies separate to the main game with customizable houses. And people would often set up extremely inappropriate parties with very bad stuff that I cannot show that definitely should not be in the game targeted at children. This persisted for literal years. Very little was done to moderate or shut down these parties. Based on tweets from the time period, the owner of the game seemed to not really care, which is weird. It was only when Roblox themselves stepped in and temporarily removed Meepcity from the platform in 2022 that the party feature was finally deleted. However, even a few years removed from that, Meepcity has still not shaken its degenerate reputation. The game's bright, cutesy, overtly kid-friendly style is belied by its players. There are still so many edgy weirdos here, with suggestive avatars and bios saying stuff I can't show without getting demonetized. I didn't have to dig deep to find this. This was the first server I joined with a new account. Just like, don't play this game. I'm making a whole new tier for this. Meepcity goes into potentially illegal tier. Adopt Me's big thing is its trading market. There's a ton of pets and items with different traits and rarities. There's gambling, like every good game marketed at children surely should have, where you can win fantastic prizes like a roll of paper towel. The thing is, there's not much substance to Adopt Me, and it also popularized some of the worst monetization trends in Roblox. So I'll stick Adopt Me in F tier. This is like the game equivalent to TV static, if it was chromatic and oversaturated. The gameplay is pretty much nothing. It's essentially a clicker simulator. The main draw is the pets, these little cuboid dudes, which you have to gamble to get. That's the core of the game, spam clicking and gambling. Pet Simulator 99 uses so many scummy game design techniques. There's billboards plastered everywhere with advertisements, urging you to like the game or buy game passes. There's eggs with pets whose odds they just don't tell you. It's a fun mystery. There's a feature where, if you're playing on a new account, when you try to leave the game for the first time, a quote-unquote free gift appears to try to keep you playing. Nice one, big games. There used to be a Robux currency purchasing system where you had a 1% chance to get a super rare pet with every purchase. They recently hopped on the Souls RNG wave and added their own RNG game mode, which shows an insane lack of self-awareness, considering the developers' previous reactions to people who they perceived as copying their work. I guess originality only matters sometimes. They sell plushies with in-game rewards off-site for hundreds of dollars. There's that whole NFT thing, they got the McDonald's collab, they got the SpongeBob license somehow, and they made SpongeBob a 0.05% chance roll. I could go on and on, like, ugh. Pet Simulator can't be described with the phrase money hungry. That's a massive understatement. It's goddamn money ravenous. I was originally going to put this in the bomb tier alongside Souls RNG, but after thinking about it, I kinda realized Pet Simulator 99 is even worse than that. It has slightly more gameplay, just as much gambling, a lot more monetization, and somehow, even less identity. That's the crux of it. Like, at the very least, something like Souls has the retro-themed map and the interesting ore designs. That's a little bit of personality. Pet Simulator has nothing. You cannot name a more generic game than this. It's meant to milk its player base for as much money as possible, and it's designed to be as sterile, basic, unimaginative, empty, and meaningless as possible. It's a complete void of creativity. There's no vision or heart at all behind Pet Simulator. I am being very dramatic. At the end of the day, it is just a silly Roblox game. But still. Just for fun, I'll make another new ranking here. Free-to-play players are the most entitled tier. So yeah, not the best game. I think I prefer blocky Pet Simulator. This one's pretty good. I found out about Dress to Impress through queso clips, and I wasn't expecting to really care about it, but it kinda drew me in. By only my second round, I was getting invested. Like, the theme here was pop star, so I made what I thought was an absolutely peak outfit. Like, this is stylish, come on. And I was actually mind blown when I lost. Like, I was kinda mad. Maybe it's my color blindness, but surely my outfit looks way better than theirs, right? Like, I don't know, leave a comment. So yeah, anyways, pretty cool game, B tier. The word I would describe this game with is daunting. I'd seen a lot of talk about Deepwoken on social media before, but I had no clue what I was getting into. This is the only paid access game on the list, which is why I hadn't tried it before. And is it worth the money? Depends what type of games you like, and how much money you have, I guess. Deepwoken is undoubtedly a far more ambitious project than like 95% of Roblox games. There's a deep combat system, tons of interactable NPCs, lore and world building, a range of mechanics, and a massive open environment to explore. I definitely cannot do this game justice in a video like this. I need to invest a lot more time into it for its own project. That said, what I can talk about is my new player experience, which was, dodge roll. Do something, bro. Great. Alright, I'm dead. Fun stuff. Okay. Why does the game throw 4 enemies at me at once, so I still don't know how to beat one? Okay, something's killing me. I don't know what it is. Is there someone invisible after me? Help me! Comment to like and help me. Why can't I climb this? Okay, I see. Now I see. These are the guys doing that. Awesome. Double thumbs up from me. I can respect a lot of what this game is doing, but for a beginner like me, it was not at all an enjoyable experience. The combat felt super sluggish and sloppy. I'm sure my bad internet plays a part in that, but trying to win a fight with a battle axe felt about as realistic as trying to clean up an industrial oil spill using the napkin you got in your Tim Hortons order. The AI for the NPCs is, I would say, too smart, to the point where it becomes frustrating, and sometimes, like with these dudes who can walk on water, it just doesn't make sense. Again though, I've said it multiple times, I recognize I didn't get to see the best parts of this game, so I'm not gonna rank it too lowly. Plus there's apparently an NPC called Meat Lord, so that earns the game points. It has to be C tier still, because it was not fun at all. I didn't play much of a Dusty Trip. I think I was just in a bad mood when recording, but at the time it felt like everything was constantly going wrong, and it was very frustrating. I ended up giving up after this run, where my teammate Mando got killed by a homeless guy, and my car got stuck on an invisible slope. C tier, although that's probably too low honestly. It's kind of surprising to me that this game is as big as it is. No shade, it just kind of feels like any old simulator game. I've played it a few times over the years for various events, and I've enjoyed it then, but it's just the sort of game I wouldn't play on my own time. B tier. Actually, no, I'm gonna put it in D tier. This is a fun little cooperative group puzzle game. The twist is that you can't use chat, and everyone's avatars are anonymized. I think the atmosphere of Nullxiety is done pretty well, and what plot elements there are intriguing, but the pacing is awkward. There's a massive difficulty spike in the puzzles when you go from having to do some obbies and write your name on a piece of paper, to having to decrypt Morse code from a flashing light bulb, which required me to live look up how to do that. And then right after that section, you go back to doing an obby. It is kind of weird. Overall though, Nullxiety is a good time. I'll put it in A tier. This game is a sequel to Nullxiety. I was surprised upon revisiting it because I played this game when it came out about 4 years ago and I liked it then, but even in 2024, this is still one of the most unique and innovative games on the platform. I mean, the bar is not very high there, but yeah. It's visually distinct and poignant. It does the Silent Hill type thing and locks the camera in certain areas. I don't know the proper name for that, sorry. The puzzles aren't the most complex, but the environment and atmosphere definitely make it worth playing through. It's a very cool experience. It feels like an actual proper game, if that makes sense. Although it is very short. So yeah, I don't want to spoil too much, but I wish Roblox had more stuff like this, you know? S tier game, go play it. Blox Fruits, more like mid fruits, F tier.
You thought this was a tour. Your test begins now.
This is an obby game where you run through various platforming gauntlets rigged with traps. The innovation of Deathrun is that one player from the server is selected to be the killer. They get placed in a special area where they have access to buttons which allow them to choose when exactly to activate a trap. This adds a layer of depth to the gameplay as you try to outwit the killer and bait them into using their traps early. It's just a fun game, pure and simple. It's got a bunch of cosmetics and little items, but unlike say Murder Mystery, they're not the focus here. They're just fun little side bits of content, which is what I think they should be. I'm actually going to put this into S tier. Deathrun is great. So this is a game I've made the majority of the videos on this channel on. Because of that, I of course have a very strong bias towards this game. I've said it before, I think this is the best tower defense game on Roblox. It's extremely polished, the modeling and UI work is professional quality. Propeller skin, subscribe to my channel, like the video. And the gameplay is very refined. TDS has a lot of history too. It's had one of the most interesting and storied lifespans of any Roblox game, which is something I find cool. So yeah, I don't really feel the need to dive super deep into the game here. I've put so many hours into TDS, I've made over 100 videos on the game. At this point, there's not a lot I can say that I haven't already expressed in the past in some way or the other. I'll just put it into S tier. This is the other tower defense game I've made several videos on. It's not as highly polished as TDS, it doesn't have as much content, but it has some pretty funny skins. What I most appreciate about this game is that almost every update has some innovation, minor or major. Be that the endless game mode, the power-up system, the speed change system, or the new towers, which have consistently introduced interesting gimmicks not really seen in other Roblox TD games. Like the helicopter is so based. A tier. The game has its stumbling points, but overall I think it's solid. The harshest criticism I can lay against this game is that toilet tower defense is an insult to the Skibidi toilet property. I've complained more about TTD in a different video. I don't feel a need to rehash on my criticism. Basically, game bad. It goes straight to F tier. In Flood Escape, you have to parkour through rooms made of platforms, boxes, trusses, and ledges to reach the safe zone before the rising water kills you. There's a few other mechanics like the buttons that open up pathways and this keypad mashing minigame at the end of each run, but it's mostly just run and jump. Although I kinda like that. By now you might be able to tell I quite enjoy my Obby games. So yeah, Flood Escape is cool. It just feels like quintessential 2016 Roblox. I'll slot it into A tier. This game really is an upgraded, expanded version of the original. The maps are much more complex and varied, and there's way more of them too. Like, I saw a YouTube video of someone beating them all and it was 3 hours and 48 minutes long. There are multiple new mechanics like sliding, wall jumping, swimming, and ziplining even. I can appreciate that the creator didn't just make more of the same thing, but really evolved the style of the game for FE2. I will say though, as a beginner, the maps were all pretty confusing in my first playthroughs. The routing does not feel intuitive. I also don't quite have the same connection to it as I do the original, so B tier, even though it's pretty obviously the better game quality wise.
If you can't do the time, don't do the crime.
Out of all those classic 2016-17 era Roblox games that were popular when I first played, I'm gonna be honest, I never really loved this game the way a lot of other people did. It feels like Prison Life rarely hits a good balance of power levels between the prisoners and the cops. It always ends up feeling very one-sided for the more popular team in that server, which is usually the criminals. And the whole point of the game is supposed to be escaping prison, but once you do get out, which is fairly easy to do, there's nothing to do in the greater world. The map is small and exclusively populated with empty set pieces. The buildings have nothing in them, the towns are completely empty. All you can do is get a gun and then go back inside the prison to shoot people who have disagreeable anime takes. Lastly, like a few other Roblox classics, Prison Life has also suffered serious issues with hackers. So yeah, I'm gonna put it into C tier.
Okay, time's up. Now get out.
Having said all that about Prison Life, for some reason my younger self really liked this game. I specifically remember back in the day thinking Redwood Prison was just peak, which I guess is proof that mental illness did manifest itself early on in my life, because this game sucks. It's legit just a worse Prison Life. It has all the same problems, the map is somehow even more barren and lifeless, and there's also hackers here too, so that's a lot of fun. Game goes to F tier. This game is a modern take on the whole prison escape genre, and it has way more content than the prior two games. There's a multitude of different, very involved robberies you can attempt. Be that the mansion, the museum, this kind of Indiana Jones-esque temple escape one, the airplane, the boat, the train from GTA. I still think the whole cops versus robbers team system is pretty flawed, but at the end of the day, it is pretty fun to ride around in wacky cars and shoot people. One aspect of Prison Life's legacy that Jailbreak unfortunately continues is the prevalence of cheaters. They are surprisingly common here. I'll put Jailbreak in B tier. I absolutely suck at first-person shooters, so I don't play many games in the genre, but I do enjoy Arsenal those rare times I hop on. There's a bunch of modes, maps, items, and of course a huge arsenal of possible weapons. Sorry. It's interesting to see what funny looking gun you'll swap to each time you get a kill. So yeah, I think the game's really well made, but I just don't play it much. I'll put it into B tier, I guess. Despite what I just said about FPSs, Phantom Forces was a game I actually played quite a bit back in the day. I just always found there to be something really satisfying about the mechanics and movement, and hopping back into it in 2024, that's what I most enjoyed about the game. The movement is so silky smooth. Sprinting across open terrain, jumping over short barricades, and diving to cover ground quickly. It all feels very good. The gunplay is also really satisfying. Shooting feels responsive and snappy, even with my relatively poor internet. And again, I completely suck at this game. My KDR is just barely above 1 flat, but I still really enjoyed my time playing it. Phantom Forces, A tier. This is an FPS from big games. Oh god. There is also a sequel, but I decided to just stick to the classic. And this game, not exactly the greatest. The spawn points are terrible. You will end up spawning on top of other people many times. The maps feel way too big and open. There's a lot of downtime which interrupts the flow of combat. The guns just kinda shoot wherever they want, and the bullets or paintballs always one shot no matter what. And since the guns don't have to reload, that means the best strategy is just to hold down left click and walk around like a free roaming Roomba with a lawn sprinkler taped to its head. And finally, this game has these little tech powers, like these sentries you can deploy, which just completely ruin the game, because even though you die in one hit, they don't. They can take many shots, meaning if one ever sees you, you're just screwed. There's nothing you can do. These can be planted in specific locations to spawn camp. That's cool. I guess no one ever tested this game. Yeah, big paintball, not good. Big F tier. This slot was originally occupied by the game Brutal, which was like an obscure Doom clone I remembered liking back in 2016-17. However, when I went to revisit it for this video, I discovered that it's unplayable. It's completely broken. So instead, game 28 is Hovercar Experiments. This game is super basic. The world is a literal empty sandbox, but you get to fly around in the hovercar. So that's pretty cool. The tech isn't the most cutting edge, your car does hit the ground a lot, but for a game that hasn't been touched in literally 8 years, I think it's pretty chill. It's relaxing to just fly around. It is very simple though, so C tier is the highest I can place it. This is an interactable story game with a bunch of different paths and endings. I've liked it the few times I've played it, but I'm generally not a massive fan of these like Roblox quote-unquote story games, which will become very apparent later on. D tier. Piggy is, in origin, a direct ripoff of a different property, the mobile game Granny that was really popular for a while. In Piggy, you try to find items to escape whatever location you're trapped in, be that a house, a carnival, the local McDonald's. To be honest, I really don't care for the whole find a thing to unlock the other thing, to get that thing, to win system, because it means all you do every round is run around the map aimlessly looking for the right color of key. Am I hating too much? Maybe. I'm still gonna put it in D tier. I haven't forgotten that stupid line puzzle from that one Roblox event. This game is of course based on the Maze Runner series. You're placed in a giant stone labyrinth, and your goal is to find a way out of the maze while avoiding the deadly grievers. And I'll be honest, I love this game. What the Maze Trials does so well is create a really immersive atmosphere. The maze is giant and oppressive. The halls are narrow and unrecognizable. There's few landmarks to distinguish one area from the other. The stone surrounding you is unyielding and blank. The walls stretch so highly into the sky that you feel like you have no way out. And when night falls and that music kicks in, it takes me back to 8 years ago, when I would play this game on my parents' laptop and get freaked the hell out. Even in modern times, this music is tense, man. Like, I actually jumped a bit in my chair when the griever got me here. But the SpongeBob roller coaster image. Like I said, I first played a different version of this game back around 2016, and in the years since then, the game's actually been fully visually overhauled and updated to the point where it looks quite pretty. Especially from above. Looking at the maze from a high vantage point reveals the insane scope of the map. I think it's really cool. And to talk about getting to the top for a second, this game contains one of my favorite Roblox badges ever. Maze Parkour. Basically, there's this one little area deep in the maze where there is what looks like just an innocuous piece of staggered wall that was built in such a way that you happen to be able to jump up it. But then you go up and realize you can keep going, you can make another jump, and another. And another. It quickly begins to feel like you're not supposed to be up here. You'll run into what seem like dead ends multiple times. The jumps you have to make are nerve-wracking. You question if you can actually reach that far, and the massive drop yawns beneath you. Yet if you trust yourself and keep moving forward, keep finding whatever path is available, you eventually come to the top. And I just think this is a really cool moment. I have some really fond memories of running through this with a friend years ago, and falling at the final jump. So yeah, I'll always have a soft spot for this game. S tier. Both these are based on reality TV shows which follow similar formats. You enter a competition with a bunch of other players. You go through rounds where you alternate between competing in challenges and voting people out. And you talk a lot of trash, because a lot of times the people who play these games are quite antagonistic or just weird. Like, look at this innocent, smiling little dude. What do you think he chose as his in-game name? You probably didn't think it was that. These rounds get dramatic. The elimination votes especially can get very tense. It can be super frustrating to get voted off sometimes. Like in this Outlaster match, this Maria girl just randomly made up some lie about me teaming with other people. For literally no reason, like I was getting kicked off regardless. But the thing is, those toxic arguments you can have with other players are kind of necessary for the game to work. It adds a layer of tension to everything. It makes it feel way more personal. Without that, you're just playing a bunch of mediocre minigames. Like, dear lord, why does Eviction Notice have so many memory games? They're so stupid. The rounds also take way too long, the whole advantage system breaks the game. It's not very fun. I'll put both these games in D tier.
Inside a Roblox Waterpark today.
This is a real throwback of a game. It's kind of like a social hangout, but all the water slides were built with the intention of trying to violate as many safety codes as possible, and you're locked to this horrible first-person camera which doesn't let you see anything. That's an F tier if I've ever seen one. Apocalypse Rising, or APOC, is a Roblox cult classic. I, like many others, grew up on this game, although I liked it for different reasons than most people. When I first got into APOC in 2016, what drew me in wasn't the combat. It was the sense of scope and the feeling of isolation in the game's world. APOC has 3 different maps, and Reborn was the map I always chose to play back in the day. It was by far the biggest, so there was less chance of getting into a fight, and it had a ton of unique landmarks and destinations. Like seriously, the map is gigantic. You can make a whole time lapse of getting from one side to the other. There's Kin, the biggest city on the map. There's the radio tower, which you can climb up and get a wide view of the terrain. The mines, I remember the mines were terrifying back in the day. The car dealership, the observatory, the mansion, the prison, the airfield, Trinity HQ, I could go on and on. I loved exploring this desolate, lonely world, searching for rare loot or a functional vehicle. It was always both serene and tense, because I was afraid of getting jumped. That leads into the main gameplay of APOC. Shooting. When I returned to Roblox in 2019 after taking about a 2-year hiatus from the platform, I returned to APOC, and this time around I played the reimagined map. Because the locations are all so close together here, this map is the one known for being very PvP focused. So how about that PvP? Well, the gunplay in APOC is slightly janky. To shoot your gun, you just pull it out, aim your mouse anywhere on the screen, and click. You don't have to be in first person, you don't even have to be facing the same way your bullets go, you can shoot directly behind you. It's very Roblox coded. Despite that, the combat in this game is still unreasonably intense. I have so many memories of absurd fights and situations in this game, like nothing else even comes close. With how OP certain guns are, confrontations can end literally in a few seconds. It can be extremely stressful, because dying is disastrous. Like, you ain't getting that loot back, little bro. For the sake of time, I won't go into loot drop rates or other aspects of the game like the whole group betrayal system or combat logging and spawning or the loadout system or base building or any of that. I just want to emphasize that there's so many layers of anxiety to this game. It all works together to, honestly, create a kind of miserable experience. Like, yeah, I loved APOC, but at the same time, it's rare for me to log off the game actually feeling good. Even when things did go well, when I got geared up and found rare loot, it just made me all the more nervous for the next time I would play, because I knew I was going to lose it all in some dumb way. It was a game I played a ton of, but one that I didn't even enjoy that much. Maybe it's like League in that way. I don't know, I've never played. The last thing I'll talk about here is the element you might be surprised I haven't mentioned already. Apocalypse Rising's downfall has been well documented over the years, and the primary reason for the game's fall off is the abundance of hackers. It was just way too easy for pretty much anyone to get cheats in this game. People would commonly do things like spawn a ton of OP weapons and gear, give themselves god mode, blow up the entire map with a gazillion C4, straight up script kill everyone in the server with no warning, build massive ridiculous bases with cheated in materials. Hackers killed Apocalypse Rising. Over the years, the player count fell from thousands to hundreds to 100. That's about where it sits today, at 50 to 100 die-hard fans. I think there are more deeply rooted problems with APOC, but it's undeniable that cheaters played the biggest part in its fall off. I don't know, I'm so conflicted on this game. I love it and I hate it. I'll make a new tier at the top. Worst/best game. APOC 2 on the other hand is just not it. APOC 1 is janky, but the gameplay is also super tightly designed. In comparison, everything feels slow and clunky in APOC 2. The looting is slow, the inventory is weirdly overdeveloped, they made it into like a space management minigame. These ammo boxes are such a pointlessly confusing system. The combat feels loose and sloppy. It's like they tried for more standard type of gunplay, but it doesn't feel as refined as a game like Phantom Forces or Arsenal, and it doesn't feel as responsive and instantaneous as APOC 1 either, so it just kinda hits this awkward middle ground. They added a bunch of fake cars you can't drive around the map for no apparent reason, which is like my personal pet peeve. All that said, there are some elements of APOC 2 which I think are quality. By far the game's biggest strength is the map itself. I think the whole island this game takes place on is really cool. That's the one element of APOC 1 which I'd say carries over quite well. The exploration, the feeling of scavenging a ruined land, what I originally liked about the first game all the way back in 2016. I know most people didn't really care about that in the original, the combat was the main draw, but for me, I still do really like all the little secrets and Easter eggs hidden away in certain areas. I think this is cool. I do think a lot of the negative reactions people have towards this game are largely based on the fact that it's APOC 2. It's a sequel to one of Roblox's most beloved games with a cult fanbase, and a lot of people just want the original game to be restored to a playable state. So yeah, I guess I'll stick APOC 2 in C tier. I could honestly move it up or down a tier depending, but yeah. In this game, you try to survive as an onslaught of bombs fall from above, and slowly decimate all destructible terrain around you. On the surface, it's chaotic fun, but the gameplay loop is, I might say, a bit too simple. For me, it actually started feeling repetitive pretty quickly, but what really makes this game is the style. Like, just look at these badges, look at those bubbles, look at the lobby. You can get in a cannon and launch yourself to the other side of the room. For that alone, this game gets bumped up a litter tier. Also, I have to know that the creator of this game, Polyhex, is the one who made this cool UGC face, which I quite like. Even more bonus points, C tier. I wanted to include a couple Tycoon games on the list, and this was one that I loved as a kid. Something about having real NPC customers come into your store and actively buy your stuff while complaining about the conditions and making little comments was really cool to me. The potential for customization in Retail Tycoon is endless. You can make some truly insane stores. Revisiting the game though, I got bored and gave up after it took 6 real-time minutes to sell some necklaces. Also, for some reason, this game forces your avatar's proportions into jumbo size, which just looks kind of grotesque. I hate when games do this. It loses a full layer grade for that. D tier. This game has a unique and fun gimmick. As you upgrade your base, you get more powerful clones of yourself, which you can send out to go fight other clones and earn more money. This does raise some interesting ethical questions, but if you can ignore that. It's a fun enough game which is more engaging than the usual Tycoon schlock. I'd say C tier, maybe B on a good day.
It attempts to put wood grain back into the Dark Ages.
I've tried to get into this game a few times, but it's never clicked with me. The biggest problem, at least from my beginner point of view, is that everything in Lumber Tycoon is so tedious. Chopping wood takes a long time. Carrying it is slow and awkward because the wood just kind of floats wherever it wants. Even with a car, it often tumbles out of the flatbed. And getting across the map is very time consuming. Especially when, I don't know, hypothetically, your car full of expensive lumber gets stuck on nothing in a volcano and you die to heat exposure while trying to fix it, so now you have to leg it all the way back. And then you blow yourself up with dynamite trying to get rare ice wood. Hypothetically. It has to be C tier, although I do respect the legacy of this game. Lumber Tycoon definitely has aura. This game's cool. It's like Prop Hunt. You transform into different objects and try to blend in. This was a very late addition to the video. I don't have much else to say. C tier. The mechanics of Flee the Facility are simple. One player tries to kill everyone else as they all attempt to hack computers and escape. There's not much variety in the gameplay. I have some problems with the length of the rounds. It feels like they go on too long. And it's a pretty common occurrence for the gameplay to just evolve into a constant cycle of freeing and capturing over and over, which doesn't advance the round at all and after a while just gets really annoying. These perks are still not in the game after literally like 7 years. Which is really funny. It's a solid C tier, I suppose. I'm putting a lot in C. This is a very Roblox-y game. It's been around for many years, and it still looks and plays the exact same way. Basically, it's just a collection of minigames. Some are more enjoyable than others. I think generally they're pretty good. The game does feel pretty dated though, like this UI looks like something I would make in Paint.net. Overall, it's fun, B tier. I've played a little bit of all these games and they just don't appeal to me. I'm definitely being unfair by not diving into the nuances of each game's different mechanics and gameplay systems, but to me, the word to describe these games with is aimless. You just kind of walk around and get gunned down in front of the local Taco Bell. I guess the main content comes from interacting with other players, but I mean the people who play this game are F tier across the board. This is like the 3D visualization of those town playmats everyone had as a kid. Brookhaven is essentially a big open world sandbox that allows people to roleplay as pretty much anything. From a reckless driver, to a crazed gunman, to the night guard from FNAF because there's this weird security camera mechanic. What I like about this game is that it gives you access to a ton of options in terms of cars, items, and vehicles right off the bat. It doesn't force you to work to get in-game money to buy stuff, you can just get straight into it. It's also far less overtly predatory in terms of its monetization than a lot of the other top games on the platform, which I respect. You can name your house Among Us. Going into this, I thought I would hate this game, but I mean, it's really not that bad. I'll give Brookhaven a C tier.
Welcome to McDonald's. May I take your order?
Hi, can I get a...
This is a game that went viral for like, allegedly getting bought out for like $100 million or something dumb like that. I don't know, unlike Brookhaven, you don't get a bunch of stuff to play around with immediately. You have to earn money, and it's like, I don't want to work at Roblox Burger King, bro. I'm probably gonna be doing that in real life when my YouTube falls off. D tier. This was like the only life simulator type game I really liked back in the day. I remember spending a lot of time playing and trying to make the coolest possible apartment. I remember watching Dan TDM's videos on the game and thinking it was sick. I remember it having a lot of secrets and hidden mysteries. I have a lot of fondness for this game. That said, it feels outdated in 2024. It's a game very much so entombed in that 2017 era. And while trying to write this segment, I honestly just couldn't find much to say about it. Nostalgia carries it to C tier. I'd rather play this than Bloxburg.
Welcome to the Investors Center. Bye-bye.
This game, classic. Back in the day, this was the hotspot to see all the richest Roblox traders. 12-year-old me was always starstruck to see the value of other people's hats. Except that's kind of the wrong phrasing. I think the actual feeling this game always provoked in me was inadequacy. I was always like, damn, I'm never getting that dude's fit. The game itself is quite literally as nothing as it gets. There's no gameplay at all, it's just a little hub area where you talk to people. So I'm actually gonna put Trade Hangout into F tier. For the times I made horrible trade deals.
Today, we are not going to be playing Hide and Seek Extreme.
This game, classic. You hide, and someone looks for you. That's pretty much it. Also, I guess this game has a problem with hackers, because I saw what looks like probably an 8-year-old iPad player using infinite jump hacks pretty freely. So that's funny. D tier. So this game is a Rocket League knockoff. Honestly, it's not terrible. Like, aside from the ball lagging out and teleporting everywhere, the base mechanics themselves are decent enough. That said, since Rocket League is free anyways, the only reason I see to pick this version is if your computer can't run the actual game. It's just not as refined. Like, you're not gonna be hitting double resets in Rocket Wheels. You're not gonna be hitting double taps in Rocket Wheels. You're not gonna be hitting pogos in Rocket Wheels. Yeah, I did just want to showcase some clips. Anyways, Rocket Wheels can get C tier, I guess. In this game, you're trapped in a nightmarish SCP scenario, having to work retail. No, actually, you're the customer, I just wanted to write that line. I'd never played 3008 prior to this video, and my initial impression here was that it was cool. The building mechanic is super intuitive and highly polished, but it also felt shallow. I don't know if I missed something, but it just didn't feel like there's a lot to do. You just kinda walk around a store, and run away from some goofy monsters during the night. I suppose C tier? This game's kinda like a fusion of MM2 and Epic Minigames, and honestly, even in 2024, it's still really fun. The minigames are generally simple concepts. They're short, chaotic, adrenaline-fueled rounds that work very well with the basic knife-gun mechanics of a murder mystery game. Except for the Minesweeper one, that one sucks. Now, there are some problems clearly shown by the game's age. Like, there's a glitch where you can't see when other people are holding knives or guns, which is a pretty big problem when you roll a standard murder mystery game mode. And Mad Games is also fundamentally pay to win. Everything that costs the free currency is super expensive, and they offer OP Robux only power-ups like the Death Beam, which costs 10k Robux, literally a $100 cheat code. Despite those problems, again, I really enjoyed the game. The core gameplay is good enough to carry it. I do think it's a shame that it's essentially dead nowadays. It is very difficult to get a server running without friends hopping on, because I would like to play more of this honestly. I'm gonna put Mad Games in A tier. I'd say S if it wasn't for the crazy pay to win.
Have you heard of a Roblox game called Assassin?
This game takes a knife-based combat to Murder Mystery 2, but rather than assigning roles, everyone gets a weapon and is given a target to kill. This makes the gameplay actually engaging, and it adds a thin layer of complexity as you try to figure out who got you as their target. Generally, it's the dude chucking knives at your head, but yeah, I like this game. It does the Murder Mystery 2 thing where there's hundreds of knives in a massive trading market. I actually have a rare knife I got like 4 years ago for being in a top clan on the leaderboards, which really has no bearing on my ranking of the game or the script at all, but this is probably the only chance in my life I'll ever get to flex that, so I had to include it. Unfortunately, the game is pretty dead nowadays. There's not a lot of people still playing, and those who are probably hacking, so yeah, B tier. This isn't really a game, it's just a little setup which sends you to a randomly chosen experience, which can be pretty funny. I decided to try it here, and I ended up in Clue. The classic board game Clue, mayhaps. This is like the dude from FNAF. Yeah, the thing is, most random Roblox games are just like this. Some random, unfinished play someone spent 10 minutes on then abandoned. But I suppose that's what makes it interesting when you do find something finished. Side note, if you want to see a video where I play 100 random Roblox games, yeah, drop a like and a sub and a comment and maybe I'll do just that. Anyways, Super Place Roulette can get a B tier because it's a fun concept, and Clue goes into F.
And there's no money in here! How delightful.
I don't really like Please Donate. It doesn't feel like you have many honest interactions in this game. People are kind of incentivized to act disingenuous, to say whatever they think will get people to donate to them. Also, as shown by the in-game chat, there's a pretty big bot problem. I guess people think they can make a bunch of passive income from this game, so they just leave a macro running overnight, which kind of hurts the only actual appeal of the game, talking to people. So yeah, overall, I have to put it in D tier. Another Hasm game, and unfortunately, I do not like this one either. I'm sorry, please, I still want a Twitter follow. It's a Souls RNG reskin, where instead of rolling for Aura, you roll for Roblox players, which sounds like a cool idea on paper. But the thing is, the players you roll have even less use than like the auras in Souls RNG. You can't do anything with them, except put on whatever outfit they were wearing. Which like, the majority of the time, you're just gonna get a default character, right? I don't really find myself caring too much about, you know, Fizhva 23. And user RNG doesn't even have the very shallow upgrade mechanics that Souls had. It's even more bare bones. I'm gonna have to place it in F tier. The mechanics here are admittedly pretty satisfying, the bike feels nice to control, but there's zero creativity. The stages are all super generic and basic, I would even say poorly designed, the way some of them completely kill the pacing. And the game has pet simulator levels of monetization. D tier. So you could say this game is kind of a continuation of another game's legacy, Pokemon Brick Bronze, which like many other people, I absolutely loved back in the day. I didn't have any real Pokemon games as a kid, so even the scuffed Roblox version was goated in the eyes of my younger self. Unfortunately, that game has long since been copyright struck into oblivion, and it's no longer playable. Loomian Legacy comes from the same team, and I think it's a solid enough replacement. The presentation is not the best overall. The Arthro characters look uncanny and awkward, and a lot of the Loomian models feel very Robloxy. I think animated sprites could have looked a lot better, but yeah, I think for a new generation of players with no Nintendo console, Loomian Legacy works well enough as their scuffed knockoff Roblox Pokemon game. It's also kinda funny, I started this game back in October of 2019. I made a bunch of progress, logged off, and never touched it again until this video. So my save file was kinda like a time capsule here. I was able to look back and see the very off-putting names I gave to some of my Loomians. Overall, game goes into C tier. This game's cool, but it can also be frustrating. I feel like the whole mechanic where you need to see your target's face can make for some really awkward interactions, where you just have to hope you're not the other person's target because there's no way of knowing until they shoot you. I'll put Framed in C tier, but it's an affectionate C tier. I've played this game on and off for many years. This is a neat little game where you get a floating chunk of land above a massive hole, presumably because that's all you could afford with current housing prices, and you try to survive a variety of chaotic events. Solid B tier. This is a game I made almost 8 years ago as of writing, and as you can see here, it's quite masterful. With this project, I laid a lot of themes and ideas over a seemingly simple canvas. In Zombie Infection, you can run away from zombies, and you can drive a car. Okay, I admit it, this sucks. F tier. I'd still rather play this than Pet Simulator and Meepcity. This game is comparable to Apocalypse Rising, but it feels like it was made in 2010. It was made in 2016. D tier. So this game is based off the massive media franchise that is Warrior Cats. And I was a huge Warriors fan when I was younger. I loved those books. J-Filler's my goat. The game is very roleplay centric though, and I feel like I'm past the stage in my life where I can earnestly participate in a discussion like this. So instead I ran off, got some Poppy, ate a squirrel, went to sleep, and logged off. C tier game. I do want to do a big video on some of the Warrior Cats books one day. In Steep Steps, you climb a mountain, and it's a lot of fun, I really enjoy this. Until I fall, then I want to kill my D tier. This is a Robloxification of a Gmod add-on, which showcases LiDAR scanning technology. Yeah, I don't know what that is either. This wasn't originally going to be in the video, but I saw this guy on my friends list, Kazooie, playing it, and I was intrigued, so I decided to add it. It's a fun little game. The scanning mechanic is very neat. It's a little ominous, a little spooky, but nothing too crazy. B tier.
No! God, please, no! No! No!
I actually got into a little bit of beef while just casually recording here. Basically, my first match on, this guy Yuli comes up to me and he asks if I want a team. I was gonna say no, but then I was like, yeah, why not? So we win that match, and that upsets 3 other people in the server, who, in response, team up themselves and start targeting us. They went after me, and to be honest, I got cooked. Our opponents did actually have the skill to back up their talk. They were good at the game. I wasn't sure of Yuli, but I knew I had no chance of beating them in a fair fight, so I started doing a bit of coping in chat, which was kinda true. The weapons and gear in this game are very unbalanced. Meanwhile, my teammate Yuli managed to stay alive and almost pulled out a win, but plot twist, turns out that he was using cheats, which was actually heartbreaking for me. Like, I genuinely felt betrayed. He left soon after, and in the following rounds, I still didn't manage to beat any of the 3 targeting me. But I coped in the chat well enough to initiate an agreement. To settle the beef, Propellers vs Zad, a 1v1 for the ages. Base gear, mid-map, no advantages for either side. We got set up, and his friends counted us down. 3, 2, 1. I left the game. I did not want to fight the guy, I would have gotten rinsed. So yeah, I feel like that one play session kinda sums up Skywars. It's not a very fun game, like at all, but it's kinda funny. D tier. This game has insane staying power. In 2050, natural disaster survival will still probably average over 10k players. The gameplay loop is simple. You try to survive the disasters, that's it. The disasters range in effect. Some are definitely more engaging than the others. Like, my favorite's always been the flood. The tsunami's also really fun. And the sand/snowstorm ones suck, those are terrible. There's a large enough variety of maps and potential disasters so that the game doesn't get boring too quickly. I'll put it into A tier. This game is the polar opposite of something like Pet Simulator. The normal elevator is a game overflowing with character. The gameplay is comprised of you, the player, experiencing a series of random minigames and vignettes. The basis of the game is the eponymous normal elevator, the room which opens to a new floor 25 seconds after the prior one finishes. The elevator is what ties the wackiness of the game together. It's a very clever idea. The different floors are also strange and varied that it's necessary to have a consistent reprieve in between them. And I really want to emphasize, these minigames are bizarre. There's a floor with a dance-off hosted by Doge. There's one where you get eaten by a dinosaur in a Jurassic Park reference. There's one where you witness someone get brutally murdered in front of you. There's a floor where an abyssal vortex distorts the screen and the synth-heavy music plays and it's oddly touching. There's one where you go into a door that says free pizza and you get turned into a dancing girl with red hair and thigh highs. Like what? This game is like getting to see the random collection of thoughts inside someone's head. It's a very surreal experience, and at times it's even slightly unnerving. SpongeBob roller coaster, I know. The reason I feel somewhat justified in bringing that up though, is that there are certain sections of the game which do lean into that eerie feeling. I'm talking about the Gavin lore. Before replaying it myself and watching some videos on the game, all I really remembered about the Gavin lore was that really scared me as a kid. However, revisiting it in 2024, something kind of became clear. It wasn't really that good. Man. I originally wrote a very long segment here describing the Gavin lore in detail and talking about what I thought of it, but I had a lot of problems with it, and the more I wrote, the more I was just like, I can't be this much of a hater. So I've decided I won't include it here. I don't think it's necessary. You can pause and read the rough draft here if you want. At the end of the day, I still think it's really cool and one of the most popular Roblox games of its time would have a creator who would go through the trouble of making a whole secret creepypasta for the game. I think that's really fun. My voice is fried. I'm actually going to put the normal elevator all the way up in S tier. This is the predecessor to the normal elevator, and immediately upon joining you can tell it's a much earlier work in the creator's career. Things are generally pretty janky and don't work too well. Some parts of the game are broken due to age and new Roblox updates, but even aside from that, I think the game's formatting is a lot weaker than the normal elevator. The game is still packed full of a ton of secrets and bizarre moments, but the pacing isn't as tight, because there's not the elevator to keep things moving. And when you accidentally spawn a bunch of killer Shreks who spawn camp and trap you, or you trigger a weird cutscene with no apparent end, it interrupts the entire game. I found myself having to rejoin and generate a fresh server multiple times over. Despite that, I would still recommend playing the normal city, purely for the oddness of it. It has that same feeling as the normal elevator, where it feels like the embodiment of the sentiment, hey, that'd be kind of funny. Before moving on, I'm also going to note that the creator made this game uncopylocked, meaning anyone can view and edit it in Roblox Studio, which is a very based move. I checked it out myself, and it was super interesting to be able to see the inner workings of the game, and to be able to explore all the behind the scenes stuff and see the Easter eggs I didn't find myself. So to summarize, I don't think the normal city is that great a game in terms of the raw quality, but it's a distinct enough experience that I'm actually going to put it in A tier, because it's my list. This game is pretty chill, and the design mechanics are surprisingly deep. Like, you go from making a little wooden float to a fully functional bomber jet. I'll stick it in B tier. This might be a bit twisted, but the only part I really like about this game is watching the boat sink. I think it's kind of boring otherwise, so B tier. This game used to be Uno. I guess they might have gotten in legal trouble or something. I don't know why else they would change the name. Regardless, it pretty much still is Uno, albeit with a few new cards and rules. It's a good enough time. And let me just say, I pulled out a truly insane comeback win this round. Like, look at that. But yeah, C tier. I mean, it's pretty much just Uno.
I ordered a pizza like half an hour ago.
This could honestly be swapped out for pretty much any other Obby game. The only reason I really included it here is because when I was brainstorming games for the list, I remembered it from that one Albert Stuff video, where he orders Domino's pizza. D tier. I don't really get the appeal of this or any of the other Nextbot games that were a big trend a while back. I mean, the movement was cool. I liked being able to spam jump through certain obstacles like this booth here, but I felt like the game lacked any purpose or direction. I was just not really engaged at all. The monsters being PNGs feels fundamentally weird. It's like the least scary design possible, which maybe that's the point, but yeah. I do love to see former Tower Blitz team members doing well though. C tier. I could have really put any generic army game in here. I just chose the American one because Canada's version only had 4 players. I do not like these type of games for multiple reasons. Without going too deep into it, to me they always just feel miserable to play. Although in this session I did meet some cool people. I have to apologize to this dude in particular, TGO Timer, because he kept trying to tell me what to do so I could get the actual army experience, and I kept ignoring him to run to the restricted zones. So that was funny, but I'd still put this game, and pretty much any army game, into F tier. This game is fun to play for like 10 minutes. You can witness the interesting decisions some people make. Maybe you can get some likes on Twitter. But it's the shallowest of shallow gameplay loops. You literally just pick a side and fight. That's it. D tier. This game is pretty much Pet Simulator, but with SpongeBob. So, yeah.
Arcane Adventures is all about magic, hence the name.
This is a game that I remembered really liking as a kid, but upon returning to it now, my first impression was, this is not very good. And this is also broken, because this was made in 2015. D tier, because I have fond memories and I don't want to put it in F.
Too easy. Speed running it now. Here it come.
This is an absolute classic. As simple a game as they come. Just run through these big parkour levels. I'm actually gonna stick this in A tier, cause it's a lot of fun. I don't think I'm the target audience for this game. D tier, I guess. I don't know how to rank Royale High. This was the social hangout game back in the day, home of many online dater trolling videos, but I mean as a game it's pretty mid. There's not much to do unless you want to harass random people. The skateboard is fun, D tier. This is the game that had the Despacito egg in the 2020 egg hunt, D tier. So for this video, I played all 3 of the original camping games back to back to back, having not completed them before. I wanted to include them because these were pretty significant games for Roblox as a whole. They popularized a new trend of camping style games, but I ended up having some problems with these games. The first, camping, establishes the trademarks of the genre. There's a heavy story emphasis, and plot beats are intermixed with gameplay sections. The problem with Camping 1 is that the story doesn't make much sense. To summarize it very briefly, you go camping, a monster shows up. It rains, someone eats a poisoned sandwich, cave in, you do an obby, you go back to camp, monster shows up again, end of game. I am being reductive with that, but like genuinely, the story has no stakes or setup at all. The gameplay sections all feel very disconnected from each other, very random. The antagonistic force, the monster, is less threatening than the rain is. The pacing is just abysmal. There are multiple instances where after something happens, you just have to sit and wait for like 2 minutes for the next story beat to trigger. There's nothing to do or interact with, the world is super hollow, so I ended up just scrolling on my phone waiting for the game to do something. The climax is pretty lame. I didn't even get to personally experience it because the game killed me for no apparent reason. There's a big reveal with one kind of 2 plot twists within it, one of which actually has potential, and the other of which is dumb and doesn't make sense. I'm gonna have to put camping into F tier. Camping 2 glitched out about 2 minutes into the game. We all followed the guide into the bathroom section, and then the NPC broke and we weren't allowed to leave the room. Maybe the rest of this game is a masterpiece, but yeah, I didn't get to experience it, so F tier. And no, I didn't want to replay it. This was an easy out, okay? This game has such a ridiculous, incoherent plot that I don't even know what adjectives to use. You go camping, you hear someone crying in the forest at night. The whole group you're with leaves the lodge to go check it out. Crying dude gets eaten by a Freddy Fazbear knockoff, who rather than chase you, attacks you with weird lightning bolts. You get back to the lodge. The monster eats someone who got stuck outside, and it's then decided that the cabin isn't safe, so you need to leave. Even though it's seemingly just shown that the monster can't get into the building. Like what, was his stomach full? He didn't want to snack on the rest of us? For some godforsaken reason, you then have to go hide inside the mine, which is obviously far less secure than the cabin you just left. Surprise, surprise, there's a cave in, and everyone gets stuck. From there, it's decided that the next, most logical action to take is to vote on one party member to eat. Oh my god, we're gonna eat this guy? Well, this doesn't make any sense, bro. This game is ridiculous. You get back to the lodge, and the game ends with a boss fight, where you don't actually get to fight back at all. You just have to dodge for 3 minutes straight. Then it ends. Although I'm kind of in my complaining bag right now, the boss fight isn't that bad. There's a final cutscene, which introduces a ton of random characters. Maybe I needed the context of camping too, and has absolutely no emotional resonance. I'm sorry I hit your daughter with my car. Bro, what? I forgive you. Bro, and he's dead. Alright. L ratio, bozo. And yeah, that's the camping series. I really don't know what to say. Camping 3 goes into F tier with the others, although it's a funny F tier. Work at a pizza place is kind of the patient zero of all the life sim games like Adopt Me or Brookhaven that were to come later. You work at a pizza place, where you try to fulfill orders to earn money to customize your house, to fill the void with material items. Of course, a lot of the fun of the game is purposely messing things up or doing stupid stuff, like throwing all the pizza ingredients on the floor or cooking yourself, or crashing the delivery truck and spilling all the ingredients. This game is also the origin of some extremely iconic sound effects, which I use a lot in videos, they're great. It's a relaxing game where you kind of make your own fun. I'll slide it into B tier.
We have an orbital flute incoming, Vector 010.
This game kinda got replaced by more modern alternatives, but unlike the other avatar customization games, in this one, you can kill people with a flute. So that's pretty cool, unless you get in a server with a hacker, in which case the game is completely unplayable. F tier. This game might be the flat out weirdest on the list. Basically, you go through a mock-up of the Windows 10 setup and explore your fake computer. This game isn't officially made or sponsored by Microsoft or anything. The group behind it is Microsoft Studios, and I have no clue why, out of all the potential game concepts in the world, the developer would choose to make this. Like, they clearly have some skill in programming, but why Windows 10 of all things? I guess I'll put it in C tier. The game itself sucks, but it's interesting. This is a completely random game I one day saw my Roblox recommended, and after playing it, it's honestly fun. You just drive a bunch of vehicles down a big hole and watch them explode. I'll give this B tier.
You should gamble. That's right, I said it.
This is an interesting game where you can play minigames versus other people for Robux. There's kind of a weird system in place with the Robux exchanges. I guess they found a loophole to keep the game within Roblox TOS by using tickets. I mean, it's cool to be able to bet real fake Roblox money on the matches. However, the problem as always with these types of games is that no one ever actually wants to be the one to spend money. So if you want to participate, be prepared to pay. And the minigames here aren't very good. Like, there's a staring contest one where you just sit there and see who's willing to leave their computer running longer. This is so dumb. I've decided to delicately delegate double down to the disappointing depths of D tier.
The mouths started frothing immediately once they heard KJ.
This game took TDS's spot in the Innovation Awards, the Holy Grail 75, and that was pretty much all I knew about Strongest Battlegrounds before this video, and after playing it for a bit, I can say Battlegrounds games are not for me. The animations in the game are gorgeous, they all look great, but in terms of the actual combat, I had no clue what I was doing, and I didn't care enough to try to learn. I don't find the open, just go fight someone, lol, system to be that engaging, unless I really like the base mechanics. So yeah, I'm gonna have to stick TSB into C tier. The title of this game is not a lie. This is about the easiest Obby game you'll ever play. A large majority of the stages can be beaten by simply holding down W. F tier. The problem with this game is that it takes like 100 stages for the obstacles to get even slightly interesting, and then another 100 for it to become actually hard. And you know what? I don't even think this game is impossible. I think the title's a lie. I'm putting this game into D tier. You could really put any kart ride game into this slot. I just decided to do the Ardite one. And I mean, this whole genre is dumb to begin with. The majority of the time you're gonna get epically trolled and pushed off the tracks. But even when things do go right, all you're doing is sitting in a cart and waiting to win, which is really boring. Kart rides are dumb. F tier. I guess the question with this game is, how realistic is it? As a YouTuber, I can verify very much so. The part where you delete mean comments, bang on. The editing process as shown here is extremely accurate to real life. I'm doing this right now as I edit. And the money you make from videos is... God, I wish that was true. I don't know, this game sucks. F tier. This game is cool. You can crush cars. Write the rest of this later. C tier for car.
I hate children.
Alright, so Pressure ended up being the 100th game on the list. This was one of the last games I added. The comparison everyone makes is it's doors underwater. There's different numbered rooms you go through. A lot of them are simple and easy, and others are a bit more problematic. You have to be wary of different monsters along the way. You have to learn their patterns and how to avoid them. It's super polished, it's got good voice acting, and it actually incorporates a bit more of a story than Doors. By that I mean it has any story at all. You're a prisoner, and you've just signed up for what is essentially a death mission to retrieve valuable crystals. If you can succeed, you'll receive a full pardon and a cash bonus. Very Iron Lung-esque. I haven't actually played Iron Lung, I just read the wiki because I wanted to sound smart. I didn't get to see the value of that because I died multiple times. I did not win, but the game is really fun. It's fast paced and the atmosphere is super moody and immersive. I'll definitely be coming back to this game. S tier. Also, this game has a whole bonus Baldi's Basic mode, which is funny, shout out Corso. And that is 100 Roblox games ranked. This video has taken a huge amount of time and effort to make. I've recorded like 600 gigabytes of footage for this video, so if you've watched this video all the way to the end, thank you. Like, comment, sub, sandwich from Subway. Yeah. I also have channel memberships now. If you want to like get your name here at the end of videos, you can buy that. You also get like a little chicken nugget emoji, so that's pretty cool. I'm gonna go sleep for a week and watch some anime. Bye bye.